Welcome back to Capris ASMR. I'm so excited to be back doing another ASMR video. You know, it's crazy. I had looked at my videos the other day and I went to my Wnba video and I was like, ooh, let me watch this because I really enjoyed doing it. And I saw this comment and I said, you know what? My initial plan was to talk about the whole season, but you know, life happens. But I was so excited to see that I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do an update video for the playoffs. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate it a lot. So, today we're going to do soft spoken and we're going to talk about where we are in the WNBA playoffs, how's the season's been going, and my predictions for who I think is going to make it to the finals and win the finals. It's looking a little shaky. I had some different predictions earlier in the season than I do now. So, first, I want to start off with like how we got here, what teams made it to the playoffs, what happened in the first round, and where we are currently in the second round, okay? Let's get started. All right, so the 8 teams that made it to the WNBA playoffs were number 1, Minnesota Lynx, number 2, Las Vegas Aces, number 3, Atlanta Dream, number 4, Phoenix Mercury, number 5, New York Liberty, number 6, Indiana Fever, number 7, Seattle Storm, and number 8, the Golden State Valkyries. Okay, first and foremost, I want to do a shout out to the Golden State Valkyries just to start, because their season as a first year team was incredible. All the players were so fiery, the fans were great, the stadium was beautiful, and I'm just so excited for year 2 for the Valkyries. But let's get started with the first matchup. So the first matchup in the first round, and again, we're in the second round right now, but we're just going to review the first round. So the first matchup was the Minnesota Lynx and the Golden State Valkyries. All right, so ultimately, the Minnesota Lynx won that series 2-0. This was best 2 out of 3 for the first round. I want to say that I knew Minnesota Lynx was going to make it out of the first round. However, I also knew that the Golden State Valkyries were going to give them a run for their money, okay? That team is just so fun to watch. I'm also so happy for Kate Martin and how she has had an amazing season. Kayla Thornton was amazing to watch. Billings was great to watch. Carla Late, Salon, I think I pronounced it correctly, but that whole team, I think I saw earlier in the season that someone on the team was like, you know, they're just players that want to prove themselves. It's like a team full of like 6 men that want to prove themselves, and it was so fun to watch their season. However, again, the Minnesota Lynx, led by Nafisa Collier and Courtney Williams, and Kayla McBride, went ahead and won that first series, and it was a fun one. I thought it was going to go to game 3, but it didn't, okay? But Minnesota Lynx took that one. The second matchup in the first round was the Las Vegas Aces and the Seattle Storm. Now, this round was before MVP was announced. Congratulations to Asia Wilson for being MVP again. Like, what? Anyway, she's a maniac on the floor. Like, she is phenomenal to watch. But I got scared for a second, because in this matchup it was tied 1-1 and they had to go to a game 3 to decide who was going to make it to the semifinals, right? So I was so excited to see that the Aces won, but I also, something deep down inside of me wanted to see Erica Wheeler and Skylar Diggins and Nneka Ogwumike go into the semifinals, but they wound up losing that matchup, and the Las Vegas Aces won that series 2-1. But it was so fun to watch. Dominique Malunga, if you watched my first WNBA video about Rookie of the Year predictions, I talked about Dominique Malunga, and she didn't have like a crazy first season. However, she was there when it counted, you know what I mean? And I kind of like the way the coach didn't just throw her into the fire. I like how she gradually started to get more playing time. She gradually started to get more comfortable, and she showed up and showed out in the playoffs. I can't wait to see her in year 2. Again, she's only 19 years old, and it's just amazing what she's able to do on the basketball court. I'm so excited to see her in the future. But Las Vegas Aces took that one, okay? The next matchup in the first round was the Phoenix Mercury versus the New York Liberty. Now, I will say, I didn't think the New York Liberty looked like the championship team they were last year, and I wasn't surprised that the Phoenix Mercury beat them in the first round. I mean, there's a little bit too much inconsistency, I feel like, on the New York Liberty, and I think it starts with their big three: Stewie, Sabrina, and Jonquel Jones. I feel like all of them have to show up every game in order for them to win. And if one of those three are not playing at their best, then it's hard for them to win. So the Phoenix Mercury with Satu Sabali and Alyssa Thomas this year and Ka Copper, like, they're such a strong trio that, like, I wasn't really surprised. There's something about Alyssa Thomas this year that is, like, scary. Like, I feel like she's, like, going for the championship, right? So I wasn't surprised that they won that matchup and are now in the semifinals. So good luck to the New York Liberty next year. I don't think we're done seeing the New York Liberty, okay? And the final matchup in the first round was Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. Whoa. If you're in the WNBA world, you know how much of a shock that was to see the Indiana Fever be eliminated in the first round and lose to the Indiana Fever 1-2. And honestly, it comes down to the engine of the Indiana Fever is two players, Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. If they're not at their best every game, the Dream has trouble winning, right? So I feel like in the stretch, you know, in the stretch, the Atlanta Dream have trouble with poise. I think they have trouble with pressure, and I think that this year was a learning experience that even if it seems like 100% you're going to win, you can never count anybody out in the WNBA because every team is so skilled. It doesn't matter if half the players are injured and they have a lot of contract players and step-in players. Everybody who steps on a WNBA court is skilled enough to be there, and they're skilled enough to prove themselves and win. So the fact that the Atlanta Dream got knocked out so early was a surprise to me, and I think it was a surprise to a lot of people. But kudos to the Indiana Fever for winning this series. And onto the Indiana Fever, Kelsey Mitchell is, I don't even know what words to use to describe her. She's just an amazing player to watch, right? And congratulations to her to making it into like the final group of players for MVP. If she plays like she is playing this year, next year, I think she could beat MVP. Like, and that's crazy to say with Asia Wilson in her prime, but Kelsey Mitchell is such a quiet assassin when it comes to basketball. And I think she's starting to slowly get her flowers more and more for all that she's done for the Indiana Fever. But kudos to the Indiana Fever, kudos to Kelsey Mitchell and the whole squad. Lexi Hole, AB, they're amazing to watch. So with that, there were 4 teams that made it into the semifinals, right? So currently we're in the semifinals, and the matchups are the Minnesota Lynx and Phoenix Mercury. Right now, today's Sunday, and today is game 4 for all of the 4 teams that are left. So as we speak, in about an hour, one of the games is about to start. But right now, as of right now, the Minnesota Lynx are 1 to Phoenix Mercury being 2 games, 1. And the semifinals is best 3 out of 5. So I want to talk about my predictions and how I think today is going to pan out, right? So again, right now with the final 4 teams, we've got the Minnesota Lynx. They have 1 game, 1, and the Phoenix Mercury have 2 games, 1. And then we have the Aces versus the Fever. Aces are 2 and Fever is 1 game, right? So today is a really, really big day, because if the Phoenix Mercury win today, they're going to the finals, okay? And if the Aces win today, they're also going to the finals. So it's going to be exciting to see if the Minnesota Lynx and the Indiana Fever can pull out a win and tie the series today. So I don't know, but here's how I feel about it. If Nafisa Collier is hurt, which I haven't checked the injury report, it's going to be really hard for the Minnesota Lynx to win today. Okay, it can be done, but it's going to be really hard. If she's hurt, I feel like the Phoenix Mercury are going to take game 3, are going to take their third win and go into the finals. Okay, that's my prediction. I think the Phoenix Mercury is going to win today. And it's crazy because the Minnesota Lynx were number 1 the whole season. But I feel like the Minnesota Lynx are going to lose today. And I hate to say that because they could tie the series, but I think Alyssa Thomas and her crew are going to win today and go into the finals, right? And then I also think that the Las Vegas Aces are going to win their third game today and make it to the finals as well. There's only so many players that the Indiana Fever has, and honestly, the Aces have a deeper bench right now, and I feel like the Indiana Fever, they're looking a little tired already. So yeah, I feel like the Indiana Fever is looking a little tired, and I feel like the final teams are going to be the Aces versus the Mercury. Yeah, what do you guys think? Put it down in the comments what you guys think, who you think's going to win. I'm curious to know what your predictions are. Now, again, so the finals, I feel like it's going to be the Minnesota Lynx versus the, I feel like it's going to be the Phoenix Mercury versus the Las Vegas Aces. And here's the thing, AT is at the top of her game right now. However, if Asia Wilson makes it to the finals, I don't see the Aces losing. And I feel like Asia Wilson is going to get her third ring. I feel like Asia's going to get her third ring. Chelsea Gray's been playing amazing. Jackie Young's been playing amazing. Nalissa, oh my God, Nalissa is playing so well. You know, I was a little worried about Nalissa Smith this season when she was with Dallas because she didn't have a great season last year with Indiana. She went to Dallas. She wasn't having a great season, right? But when she came to the Las Vegas Aces, seeing her play and interact with this team, chef's kiss. Because Nalissa Smith is one of those players that you know is so skilled, but with like any player, they have to fit into the program. And she fits with the Aces, and it's getting scary with the Aces because Nalissa Smith and Asia Wilson together is amazing to watch. But yeah, I think at the end of it, when it's all said and done, I think the Las Vegas Aces are going to win it all. That's bold, but I think they're going to win it all. I think if Chelsea Gray and Asia Wilson and Jackie Young make it to the finals, curtains. it's no, they're not losing. But again, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think are going to win? How do you feel about the season? How do you feel about the playoffs? What's been your favorite team this season? I'd love to know. What's been your favorite team to watch? I honestly don't have one team that I loved more than any other team. I honestly liked watching all of the teams this year. Like every day there was a game, it didn't matter who was playing. I'm watching, I'm ready to see who's going to win, I'm ready to see who's going to show out. But I also wanted to piggyback on that and talk about some of my favorite players this season, aside from the playoffs, because again, I think the Aces are going to win. But some of my standout players this year were one on the Connecticut Sun. We've got Marina Maybury, but we've also got Sanaya Rivers. She was so fun to watch. I feel like she is one of the most athletic players in the league, and I honestly feel like she's gonna have a really, really great season next season. And yeah, it's gonna be really, really fun to watch her play. Also excited about Paige Becker's next season. I'm also excited about the Studbuds. The Studbuds are amazing. If they wind up losing this season, they'll be back. They're a strong team. I hope they don't make any changes on the team because I think they could really win. And don't count the Lynx out because they're resilient. But the stud buds, I'm excited to see them next year. Of course, Asia Wilson. I'm excited to see the Chicago Sky and what changes they're able to make. Angel Reese is so fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how she does in her third season. I also am excited to see what changes Chicago is going to put in place, because they really need to do that, I think. But excited to see Chicago. I'm also excited to see the Indiana Fever next year, Seattle Storm. Please, please, please don't make any changes to that roster. I think that roster is amazing. I was saddened to see that Noelle Quinn, the coach, is no longer going to be with Seattle Storm. I thought she was great. Sandy Brondello of the New York Liberty makes no sense to me. I don't understand why she's not going to be the coach. That's another video for another day. But yeah, those are some standout players that I want to see next season, and that I'm excited to see. I do feel like the playoffs, back to the playoffs, I feel like it's really exciting and fun to watch this season. And I'm excited to see who's actually going to win, because it's actually really unpredictable, because today could tie the series on both sides, right? And we could see two totally different teams matched up together in the finals. So again, let me know what you guys think below, who you think's gonna win, what you guys feel about some of the changes in the W, how you guys are liking it, and who was your favorite player this season. I'm excited to hear it down in the comments. But yeah, guys, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.